Right. So, Natalie.
Yeah.
Of course, I struggled all term with their names. I'm now okay.
I thought it was really good. I was a bit confused why there was you two, like why you weren't the same person almost, because I felt like you were talking about their day and stuff, but I'm sure you guys will explain it. Yeah, I thought it was really good. I really liked the split screen, and I liked all the information that's coming up at the side. I thought that was really clever. It's really good.
Charlie?
There you go. I liked what Natalie said, how they had like a picture of like the journey and like the everyday life of one person, and then the statistical data on the other side. But yeah, I was confused because like whether it was the same person or not, because you were saying one thing but showing something else, like with the Indian, and it looked like pizza boxes, and then in the office it looked like an editing lab, and it just like you could like I don't know whether you're talking about the same person or someone else, but I'm sure as well. Yeah, you'll let us know.
Okay.
Yeah, I really liked the way it looked visually on the screen with the split screen and then the statistics against like the present day, and how the videos GIFs done through pictures, some of them. Yeah.
Essentially,
Yeah, I like the way they were done as well. And I know it something to do with like identity theft, and I love the way it was sort of use brands that like everyone would know. It makes it more realistic and more like things that people can listen to, like Spotify and Amazon.
Barbara?
I didn't quite understand it because I didn't see the relation. I mean, I understood that like the green letters and everything meant something, but I don't know what to think of it.
I thought it was really good, really good. The only thing is, I don't know if it's just me, but sometimes I wanted to look at that screen, but then that one was really interesting, so I was like, oh, well, and then I had to hear the narration as well. I got a bit lost sometimes, so it was really good watching it again. But I thought it was a really good concept, and I really liked the data side. I thought it was really well done.
I really liked the same thing, but I think you could have been a bit clearer about the identity theft, because I wasn't really sure whose identity.
Oh, it wasn't a thing. Okay.
It's fine.
Okay. So from that, you presumably got that not everybody's picked up about the identity there. Tell us your version, and then we'll go back to it.
Can I just say one thing first? The slight continuity errors in the fact that it shows pizzas, because I forgot he said Indian, so I ordered pizza.
Oh.
I forgot.
That was not deliberate, like it had
nothing
to do with the difference.
Yeah, I mean it works.
It works though.
It works, but it wasn't intentional.
Like the accident.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Cornflakes.
Yeah, well, but yeah, it was an identity theft, and we were kind of trying to leave it ambiguous. Because identity is such a tenuous thing, especially now that our identities are basically all like online. And we were kind of trying to leave it very much open-ended for the viewer to kind of make up their mind. Maybe a bit too open-ended, but
Yeah,
you
well,
know.
the theme originated from, we remember Omer Fast's installation, and the stories he had depicted in his work, where they depicted like current like issues with the way things are portrayed in like journalism and everything. So we thought we'd like come up with a theme that's relevant and that's people kind of would understand nowadays. So we came up with identity theft, and we wanted to use like new technologies around us nowadays. Everyone can relate with it, and hopefully everyone understood that. I don't know if you did, but
Yeah, it was really important to us that we incorporated a lot of modern things that the everyday person would recognize. Because initially when you think about identity theft, you think of credit cards and bank accounts, which we did include, but we also really wanted to emphasize how much you're actually being tracked every day with everything that you use. And we also did a lot of research about about that, and how it's more identity theft can be seen in social media and things, and shows like Catfish and films like Catfish, where people can easily slip into other people's identities, and how it all becomes really obscure unless you know the full story.
like she's saying, like it's so easy to take someone else's identity. That's how we've shown it through how Lenny, who's taken George's identity in the film, how he does the exact same things as what he's doing. It's that easy that couldn't tell the difference.
Have you all seen Catfish?
Yeah.
I
Because
haven't.
everybody in the
Yeah.
world's seen Catfish. Good.
It also kind of came from, I mean, for me, because I kind of, like, we all have to write the script, but like when I was writing like my bit, I was picturing, have any of you seen Orphan Black?
Yeah.
Well, for those of you who don't know, it's basically this woman sees like her doppelganger kill herself and literally takes over her life, like her job, her house, her boyfriend, everything.
What film is this, sorry?
It's a TV show called Orphan Black.
Oh.
It's incredible. No, it really is. I'm so addicted. But yeah. But I thought like, well, personally, I thought like, you know, that actually could be achievable today. You know, given how much of our data is stored in, you know, in the cloud, in companies like Apple and Google, and I mean, between them, they know everything about me. It's crazy.
You know everything you told them.
Essentially.
Lenny, what have you got to offer to this little conversation?
Not sure. I don't think there's much to add. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you noticed at one point when Lenny had.
These are so chatty. She's talking over him.
Okay,
Sorry.
I think the concept is that like nowadays the technology made us can be replaced by numbers, like the loan numbers, credit cards, like ID numbers, and we use that on the right screen and to show that. Yeah, that's sort of the thing.
Just to comment on the stop motion stuff that we used.
I want to hear what George has got
Oh.
to say.
Oh, no,
Go
I was,
back to you two.
Well, I was just going to say that the primary artist that we focused on was Omer Fast, and a few pieces that I found that I thought were really interesting. The primary text we focused on was the casting, which is what we saw at it was at the Tate, wasn't it? Which is where we got a lot of the aesthetic ideas, such as like the dual screen and those similar things. Then we sort of took aesthetic ideas from Lindsay Sears as well, and how she's telling multiple stories through one narration, but it's the idea that because the interview is being spliced and edited to an extent that it forces you to question if the interviewee in that piece was really a soldier, if he really was in a relationship with an unstable woman, or if he genuinely did kill that civilian out there, and it forces you to question the reality of that. And there was a similar concept with another piece he did called Spielberg's List. And I think it was found out because without context, it's supposed to make you question what's real again, but with context, he's interviewing Polish extras that were in the film Schindler's List with Liam Neeson ages ago, and obviously it's called Spielberg's List because it was directed and produced by Spielberg. But one screen gives the translated accounts of what it was like on the film set, but then another screen has a different interpretation of it, heavily implying that they're survivors of the Holocaust because they're all fairly aged as well. So it's obviously a lot more believable in the other account as well. So, but then it would be just a few words changed in sentences. So of course makes you question who are they really, and is this real, is it not?
Okay, back to you two.
My,
I wanted to say what you just said.
Okay, that's good.
yeah, my point kind of goes off of what George just said about how Omer Fast kind of, with all the cuts that he makes in the interview and how all the words are kind of strung together to form sentences that potentially were never said. That's kind of what we wanted to achieve with the stop motion and showing the unreliability of images and how it could easily be something else, but just the way that we strung it together, it creates a different.
Because it's kind of making you conscious of the editing. And
Yeah, like when I was editing this, I always had in the back of my mind Sergei Eisenstein's theories of montage, and I feel like they were introduced in like the 1920s, so you could say they're outdated, but I still think they're pretty relevant, and I tried to kind of implement that in here.
because it made me think of Lars von Trier.
Yeah.
And how he's done lots of rules for documentary and set out rules. One of the things is whenever there's a cut, there's always a black space in one sequence of films. So you're constantly being taken out of your comfort zone in terms of, oh, I'm watching a film, it's fine. And then you're not in a film because you're jumping to something else that's making you realise you're watching something that's not real.
Yeah, I mean, the structure of it is pretty traditional, but we kind of wanted to get away from the sense that you're watching a film like a continuous narrative, you know, and kind of force the audience to examine what they're really watching.
Yeah.
Again,
Okay.
you know, going back to the unreliability of images.
Yeah, and I think there's the idea as well with keeping, because I know there was the idea that it was quite confusing of where to look, but I think that's plays into some of the idea because the modern world is so hectic and so trying to think of the word, so reliant on data and the constant never-ending stream of data that you get from pretty much every aspect of life. It's supposed to force you to look in multiple places at once, so to speak. So it's obviously sort of emphasising the level of confusion that this sort of situation can cause as well, especially with identity theft coming into play.
So how did you, as a group, divide up who did what? Because you were all in it. You weren't in it. They were all in it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we
yeah, Alex wasn't in that, that's true.
okay.
So Alex and Teddy, what did you do since you weren't acting?
Well, we all planned it all together. We
Yeah.
made the storyboard together. We planned out all the shots together, and then I filmed some of the shots. We basically did a little bit of everything. All of us
Right.
contributed to it,
Okay.
and
Did it work?
yeah, it worked.
Oh yeah.
It was
Once
it
we
really-
got
yeah, well,
once we got to the production
Mm.
aspect, it was fun, and it
Yeah.
was
I mean, you can see in our portfolios we have storyboard and all the
Yeah.
organizing, and once
Yeah.
we all got that out of the way, it was easy to do it.
Yeah, then I edited it
Yeah.
at the end. That was it.
It's okay, we got that. And who did the kind of technical numbers business?
Yeah, that was Alex as well.
Okay. I thought it worked well. I knew that it was going to be about identity theft, so I was in a position of knowledge to begin with. So I wasn't as confused as some of the people here. So it's a delicate balance, that thing about making something ambiguous and making something clear. And it's completely your choice as to how you choose to make something clear or ambiguous, but sometimes it can go too far into ambiguity. I don't know, does anybody think they could have given more information to make it clearer?
I didn't know it was about identity theft beforehand, and I got it from the film.
Did you guess?
Yeah.
So how many people guessed? You knew before, okay.
I think what we want to do, as George said, is just throw all the information at you, and then in the end you have like the moment of truth.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
to emphasize on the fact what he said, the whole technology taking
Yeah.
over our lives and everything.
Yes, I like the balance of the two screens, and one screen had that sort of information, the other screen was more techie and whatever. At one point I thought, oh, you could get money for placements because you were doing so many things like the Starbucks and the
Yeah.
this and that, but it was okay because it fitted. The sound level of George in real life at the end was an irritating thing.
There
Yeah.
wasn't much I could do about that.
Yeah,
yes.
that was a mistake on our end.
Yeah,
We would have
I-
wanted it to be clearer, obviously, but
I think a clear case for a second recording
yeah.
because
Yeah.
it was, I very much liked how the two of you led this life. Were you happy about being the thief?
Yeah, I'm happy.
Mysterious.
And are you happy about being the innocent victim?
Yeah, it's just a role really, so
Yeah.
just
Okay.
taking that and moving on with it.
Okay, there's a tiny part of me that wishes you'd done it the other way round. Because he looks like a victim, and I'm not saying you look like a thief, but it's easier to kind of jump into believing you. So if something's very believable,
But he is the thief, and
Yes.
he's the victim.
yes,
That's how it was
I
portrayed.
know.
Oh, okay.
I know. But when you're casting,
Mm.
I'm just slightly conscious of making you the thief and you look like a thief a bit. it's, I am just a little nervous that, yeah, I don't know. There's just something going on that's made me a little nervous, but it's fine. Okay. I like the underlying theme of identity. I think that's a really strong and intense thing to work on. I think you treated it well. The two-screen, I agree with whoever it was who said I wasn't quite sure which screen I should be looking at. Who said that? Yeah. There was a certain point where you kind of go, okay, that information is coming through strongly, that information is coming through strongly.
Well, I mean, we kind of wanted to replicate what Omer Fast did in the casting, where you don't know where to look, and you know, you'll be kind of not assaulted by information. There's so much coming at you at the same time.
Yeah.
You don't really know where to look, and you can make your own experience from that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's quite similar to them in that lecture that what was it, the Honda car commercial you showed us, where you could click or
Yeah.
use a certain key and then you view different versions, and you wonder if you go back for more viewings, it'd be like, okay, I'll focus entirely on this side this time, or I'll focus entirely on the other side, or focus at certain points, so that every experience in terms of what your brain registers will always be different. Because whether it's nanoseconds of difference with, I'll be focusing on this angle of it, it's always going to be a different experience every time you go back to view it.
Did I tell you that that Honda car commercial was made by a graduate from here?
I think you did, yeah.
It's good. Yeah. An MA person, I think. So let's see what happens, yeah. Okay. Because we saw it twice at the beginning, do we need to see it again? Would you like to see it again? She says no.
We don't want to bombard you.
Okay then, well done. Nice balance between the three things, I think. There's good variety, you can turn that off.